Ahoy, boating enthusiasts! Welcome back to the adventures of 2025. It's already shaping up to be a year of surprises, setbacks, and a few unforgettable moments on the water. This episode is packed with stories you won't want to miss. First, my buddy boat and I were stopped in our tracks by a pod of 6 killer whales on the way to Polsbo. Let's just say they set the schedule and we had no choice but to follow their rules. Next, I'll share with you the shocking story of a boat fire in the Puget Sound where the owner had to leap into the icy waters to save their own life. I'll break down what happened and share tips that could save your life in a similar situation. For the DIY crowd, I'll share with you how my Chinese diesel heater finally met its end. I'll share how many seasons it lasted and how it died. And finally, an unexpected issue at the fuel dock. My air vent was clogged with water or diesel. I'll walk you through what happened and how I fixed it so you don't end up scratching your head the next time you're trying to fill your tank and you can't. So grab a drink, kick back, and get ready for an episode packed with drama, tips, and surprises. Let's dive into it. Oh, man. Wow. That's what I call a deep dive. I've been gone all night and now it's daytime. Speaking of daytime, on New Year's Day, Voyager and I left Eagle Harbor together heading for Polsbo. They were on their boat and I was on mine. It's normally a 2-hour cruise, but that day it turned out to be a 4-hour whale-watching expedition. As we entered Rich Passage, we encountered a pod of transient orcas. They were feeding, moving back and forth across the channel. Seagulls followed closely, scavenging every time the orcas fed. Every time we thought we could move through, they crossed our path again, forcing us to slow down and keep our distance, which is 200 yards as per the regulations for transients. Eventually, I found an opportunity to move around them and safely continued towards Liberty Bay. Voyager, however, was slowly led by the orcas, who seemed to escort them all the way to Liberty Bay. Finally, the orcas called it a day and disappeared into the abyss. It was a rare and incredible encounter that lasted a very long time. But it also reminded us of the importance of respecting their space, being patient when sharing the water with such magnificent creatures. Now I'm going to tell you something that really made me stop and think about safety on the water. Recently, a boat caught fire in the Puget Sound. The owner was alone in his boat when it happened. He noticed smoke, opened the hatch, and flames erupted. His sweater caught fire, and with no other options, he had to jump into the freezing water. Thankfully, his buddy boat was nearby, and they were able to pluck him out just in time. That story hit hard because whether I'm alone or with others on my boat, I'm the captain. That means I'm responsible for the safety of everyone aboard. I finally purchased a life raft. It's light, portable, and could be my only option in a situation like this, especially if I didn't have a buddy boat nearby. I'm also reminded the importance of wearing a life jacket. But what if that life jacket catches fire, like in this case? That's where a life raft becomes the backup plan, and it could save your life. The lessons here are clear. First, if you're the captain, you're responsible. That means taking proactive steps like installing smoke alarms in all the enclosed spaces, including the engine room. Fires escalate quickly, and early detection can give you the time you need to act. Second, consider automatic fire extinguishers in the engine room. They can stop a fire in its tracks or at least buy you time to evacuate safely. When you're out on the water, every choice you make about safety matters. Whether you're alone or with a crew, it's about being prepared for the unexpected because, as a captain, it's always on you. Back in 2020, I decided to replace my older S-bar heater with what's now known as the infamous Chinese diesel heater. Let me tell you why. I've been having issues with the S-bar and tried to fix it, but I struggled to get it running properly. After fighting with it for what felt like forever, I finally threw in the towel. Around that time, my neighbor friend mentioned that one of his friends installed one of those Chinese diesel heaters, and they were pretty impressed. The cost difference was hard to ignore. $120 for the Chinese diesel heater versus $1,500 for a new S-bar. For that price, I figured it was worth a shot. So why not give it a try? The install went surprisingly smoothly. All the connections were essentially the same, and before long, I had it up and running. It performed well from the start and kept my boat warm for years until this season. That's when I noticed something was off. The fan bearings were starting to fail. I could hear it. It was a subtle noise, but enough to know that the fan wasn't spinning the way it should. The heater was still working, but I knew it wouldn't last much longer. In the end, this heater lasted from November 2020 until January 2025. Over the 4 years, I had reliable service. For $120, I'd say that's a pretty good return on investment. When it finally came to replace it, I didn't hesitate to go with another Chinese diesel heater. This time, I upgraded to a newer model with the Bluetooth connectivity. My son helped me with the install, which went about as smoothly as the first time, and I have to say I love this new heater. It's quiet, efficient, and performs exceptionally well. As far as the old heater goes, I'm not throwing it away just yet. I'm keeping it, and I plan on opening it up in the future. Who knows? I might even repair it and put it back to work somewhere else. This last story is about me trying to fill my diesel tank with fuel. I recently went to the fuel dock for a third time. I was finally able to fill my tank at a decent clip. The previous 2 times I'd start to fill, but I had this bubbling up problem. The fuel was coming up to the top. I had a venting issue. I think I got myself into trouble a while ago when I filled up my tank with a little too much fuel. I stuffed so much fuel in my tank that I think the vent hose got a little bit clogged. There's also the possibility that a little bit of water got inside during some big water crossing. I'm not sure. Either way, I assumed I had a clog and I had to fix it. I have several vent ports on the outside of the boat, but I wasn't sure which one the fuel one was. I need to map them out for the future, but for now, I was half full and I didn't want to spend 3 hours filling up, and I had an issue to solve. I was on Blake Island recently with some friends. It was supposed to be a few days on the water, but Saturday morning, I got the message from my daughter that she was in labor. This grandpa was excited, and I knew my daughter was close. But a watch pot never boils. I had to go boating in order to ensure my daughter would go into labor. I wanted to solve that clog and get some fuel into my tank on the way back to Seattle. So I pulled the fuel vent hose off and blew into it. It was not clear. There was an obstruction. After a few strong blows, it was a little more clear. I suppose it's best to remove the hose from the tank rather than blow stuff into the tank from the outside by the hull fitting. I then used a shop vac to blow and then suck. Finally, I checked one more time and blew with my mouth, and the vent was very clear. I did get a little bit of diesel on my lips though. When back on the lake, I'm happy to say I filled up easily. Problem solved. Later that evening, my grandson was born, 9 pounds. On that note, thank you for watching.